Good Sunday. Hello, Sister Jeannie, and hello, CW. I was just thinking about um, sending you guys pictures of the snow that we got. Hello, Greg and Becca. How's it going? So you know that camera is like 5 feet, 6 feet away from me, so that's why I'm leaning in. Yeah, we've got looks like about 8 inches of snow out there, and I think it's tapering off now. Fun. Supposed to get, I don't know, 10 or 12 more later in the week. And it isn't going to melt at all. So it's just going to pile up, which the children love with their snowmobiles. So the boys do anyway. That's good. So today is February 9th, 2024. And let's get right into Good Day Rising prayers, because we're going to begin, and then after we're going to begin to explain in more detail how to act on your remedy, the remedy that was given, I was going to say so generously, but reluctantly, that was given to us, which sometimes I wonder whether or not it would have been just better to, well, you'll see what I'm talking about when I get to reading. All right, Greg is, oh, hello, CJ. And Greg is commenting, and I have to move in to see it. Yes, please hit that like button. All right. And yeah, we're looking forward to, starting to think about our trip to Florida. And I have plans for a little lanai type structure next to the camper, and maybe I can get Becca and friends to find some material for an altar, so I don't have to bring down that terrible table I used last year. All right, let's get started with Good Day Rising prayers. It is really nice outside, though. It's sunny and going to be sunny any minute. Mid-20s. The snow is light and fluffy. In nomine Dei, Matronam Nostrae, Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Let us place ourselves in the presence of the Most Holy Trinity, and in Catholic contemplation humbly venerate the Divine Family. O Most Holy Trinity, one Divine Family, I believe that Thou art here present. I venerate Thee with the deepest humility, and I render to Thee with my whole heart the homage which is due to Thee. O Most Holy Trinity, I firmly believe that Thou art three divine beings, Dea Matronam Nostrae, Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, in one Divine Family. And relying on Thine infinite goodness and promises, I hope to obtain pardon of my sins, the help of Thy grace, and life everlasting, through the merits of Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Matronam Nostrae. O Most Holy Trinity, I love Thee above all things with my whole heart and soul, because Thou art all good and worthy of all love. I love my neighbor as myself for love of Thee, and I forgive all who have injured me, and ask pardon of all whom I have injured. Let us thank the Most Holy Trinity for the many graces that we receive, and offer ourselves and our sufferings up to heaven and for the souls in purgatory. O Most Holy Trinity, I most humbly thank Thee for all the favors Thou hast bestowed upon me to the present moment. It is again thanks to Thy bounty that I should live to see this day, and I desire to employ it solely in Thy service. I consecrate to Thee all my thoughts, words, actions, and sufferings of this day. Sanctify them, that there may be none that is not animated by Thy love, or that would not tend to Thy greater glory. Let us make a firm resolution to avoid evil and to do good, and let us beg of the Most Holy Trinity the graces which are necessary to us. O most holy Trinity, thou knowest my weakness, and that I am unable to do anything good without the help of thy grace. Deny me not thy grace, proportionate to my necessities. Give me strength to avoid everything which thou forbiddest, to practice the good which thou hast commanded, and enable me patiently to bear all the trials which it may please thee to send me. O Dea Matronam Nostrae, Mother of God, I place myself under thy protection. I throw myself with confidence into the arms of thy compassion. Be to me, O Mother of Mercy, my refuge in distress, my consolation in suffering, now and at the hour of my death. O most holy Trinity, as envisioned by Saint Lucia as the most holy Trinitarian Theophany, Dea Matronam Nostrae, Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, I am heartily sorry for having offended thee, and I detest all my sins because I dread the loss of heaven and the pains of hell. But most of all because I have offended thee, O most holy Trinity, who are all good and deserving of all my love. I firmly resolve, with the help of thy grace, to confess my sins, to do penance, and to amend my life. All right. Like I said, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here. This, again, is more repetition, but it's important that we get it drilled in our heads. And I was talking to my friend last night, getting some advice on the credit report system and how that works with denial of credit. Okay, we should never be denied credit for any reason whatsoever, because we are the creditors. We are the ones who receive. Is that Maria? Hello, Maria. And so now we have to just act like creditors instead of debtors. And it doesn't mean that you have to be abusive. All right, that was in the very beginning of learning this. There was a lot of anger, and people were being very angry towards government officials and those who were under this system. And it was through no fault of their own that they were ignorant. They didn't know. They thought everybody, and just like everybody thought, they were all debtors and, owed this and owed that. But now we know differently. But there's a curve, a learning curve, and it takes a while to really grasp the concept of how evil, those in the banking system who know and withhold your remedy. So overcoming debt with knowledge. This is adapted, this chapter 14 in the book is adapted from lesson 20 of New Beginning Study Course. Federal Reserve notes are promissory notes that Congress promises to redeem with our credit upon demand. A bill is a demand for real money, currency backed by silver or gold. A bill is a demand for payment that can't be made because there is no real money with which to pay the charge. Federal Reserve notes, in lieu of our credit, discharge debt. All right, I'm reading these slow so we can grasp the concepts. Our credit, our promises to pay, will extinguish debt. I'm going to read that again. Our credit, aka our promises to pay, will extinguish debt if we accept the bill for its value with our credit sign, our endorsement, to settle the account. Okay, it's that simple. Because of who we are as creditors, the signature, the credit sign, is very powerful. Congress borrows Federal Reserve notes from the Federal Reserve Bank with bonds that accumulate interest for the Federal Reserve, backed by the credit Congress borrows from us, the people of America, and beyond now, making us preferred stockholders of the corporate United States. The credit that Congress borrows from us, the people, is called in the U.S. Constitution the credit of the United States. In other words, the credit that Congress borrows is the credit of the people that the people loan to, the United States. Congress shall have power to borrow money on the credit of the United States. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 2 of the U.S. Constitution. Congress borrows Federal Reserve notes from the Federal Reserve Bank with bonds that are backed by the credit of the American people. Okay, so we are the creditors. Continually, it comes back to the people have the power, have the credit. Real money of account of the United States is currency backed by gold and silver coins manufactured in a United States mint. That's from the Coinage Act of 1792. Federal Reserve notes are debt instruments, evidences of debt that enslave us. So why use them? The use of Federal Reserve notes is voluntary. Slavery to FRNs is an optional choice, whether we know it or not. And you're scratching your head, well, we have to use them. That's all we have. But it isn't. In 1933, House Joint Resolution 192 made it a federal offense to refuse to accept Federal Reserve notes to discharge contract obligations demanding gold. HJR 192 of 1933 did not order people to use Federal Reserve notes to discharge debt. It allowed people to use Federal Reserve notes to discharge debt. People use FRNs voluntarily, whether they know it or not. By using FRNs, people volunteer into voluntary servitude to the Federal Reserve Bank. Since there is no real money of account of the United States, a charge, an invoice or a bill, is an offer to contract to settle the debt with Federal Reserve notes, or a mutual offset credit exemption exchange. Okay, so if you're a creditor and you're going to somebody who owes you money, you can either pay with another debt instrument like a Federal Reserve note, or you can just ask for a credit exchange because they owe you. Now, if you do the mutual offset credit exchange, the debt goes away. And if you use an FRN, it just gets moved around. It doesn't get settled. The acceptor has the option of discharging the debt with Federal Reserve notes or paying the debt with his mutual offset credit exemption exchange, if he knows that he can. Here is the remedy. There is no real money of account of the United States. On May 23rd, 1933, listen to this, May 23rd, 1933, Congressman Louis T. McFadden, Republican from Ohio, chairman of the House Banking and Finance Committee, brought formal charges against the Federal Reserve Bank, the Comptroller of Currency, and the Secretary of the Treasury of the United States for numerous criminal acts, including fraud, unlawful conversion of money, and treason. And they panicked. To protect themselves from these criminal charges, the House and Senate passed House Joint Resolution 192 on June 5th, 1933. So merely a couple of weeks later, they got their stuff together and said, okay, well, obviously they're going to take us down, so we have to give the people a remedy. HJR 192 of 1933 stated that the people were exempt from paying their debts. Since the means of paying debts has been taken away and replaced with fiat paper Federal Reserve notes that discharge debt instead of paying debt. Public insurance policy, HJR 192, another name for it, of 1933, provided a remedy for the victims of President Roosevelt's crime. This remedy is the basis of lawful mutual offset credit exemption exchange. This conversion created the exemption upon which mutual offset credit exemption exchange is based. The federal government has been using the UCC contract trust account in your name ever since you were born, and keeping its interest without your knowledge and consent to help pay the interest on the federal debt of the private, non-federal Federal Reserve Bank. The United States is the beneficiary of a private, constructive Sestuike trust. Okay, I'm going to read that again. The United States is the beneficiary of a private, constructive Sestuike trust and is using your commercial energy, your labor, to fund the interest on its ever-increasing national debt to the private, non-federal Federal Reserve Bank. The U.S. Treasury created a private constructive Sestuike trust through which the corporate United States and all its subsidiaries, states, counties, cities, towns, school districts, fire districts, etc., interact with your fictitious mirror image straw man. Fictions cannot interact with living flesh and blood men or women. They can only interact with fictitious mirror image straw men that women and men are presumed to accommodate by co-signing agreements in their names. Okay, so that was the trick. The state has convinced you, so they gave us the remedy, and then they tricked us back. The state has convinced you, the living flesh and blood woman and man, that it is addressing you instead of your fictional ens legis mirror image straw man. And ens, E-N-S, legis, L-E-G-I-S, means legally created. You are presumed to be voluntarily accommodating your fictitious mirror image straw man, whether you know it or not. The debt belongs to the fictitious you, but the real you is presumed to be responsible for the fictitious mirror image straw man's actions and debts. Presumed. Now that you are aware of this presumption, you can redeem your status by rebuttal. To recover dollar for dollar the collateral that the government has been holding in your name and earning interest on ever since you were born. And one of the legal maxims is, he who holds the gold pays the bills. Chapter 15 is just one page, and I'm going to read that. And it is called Commercial Redemption, which is the remedy. In commercial redemption, a presentment, aka an invoice or a bill, etc., is an offer to contract to discharge a debt. And again, we're talking from other corporate entities. Okay, so your electric, your any other corporate structure. Because a corporation is a creation of the state. Okay, so I have an LLC, but it's created by the state, so they actually own it and control it. A bill or a debt is a negative charge, a debt, to your debtor, strawman, but a positive charge, an asset offered first to you, the secured party creditor of your debtor, strawman. I'm going to read that again. A bill or a debt is a negative charge to your debtor, strawman, your all caps name, but a positive charge, an asset offered first to you, the secured party creditor of your debtor, strawman. It is not a demand for money from you, the real you. It is a payment of credit from your strawman to you because he is indebted to you first. So your strawman owes you first. It's very hard to get this, just like it is the two Jesuses and that deception but now you know where it came from. They're so clever. Everything is reversed. A bill to your strawman is an offer of his credit to you first. So why not accept the credit offered and discharge the strawman's debt with a mutual offset credit exemption exchange between you and the presenter and settle and close the account? To do this, simply endorse the presentment your strawman received with your signature, your credit sign. Okay, and again, endorsement, look up endorsement. There's different types of endorsements. There's open endorsements, there's restricted endorsements. So it's important to know, I'm learning now, it's not just as simple as signing your name. You have to do it correctly as a creditor, and thereby acknowledge your acceptance of the debt credit for its value as a mutual offset credit exemption exchange that settles and closes the account. Your endorsement of the charge with your name, your signature, your number, the Social Security number, and the date transforms the charge into a promissory note that extinguishes the charge with a mutual offset credit exemption exchange. So what I just read to you was a type of endorsement with other information, and that's what I mean by that. The only money you have with which to extinguish a debt is your credit. The only money you have with which to extinguish a debt is your credit. The constitutional credit of the United States via a mutual offset credit exemption exchange. Let's see what time we got. That's good. All right, so we'll stop there. Let that sink in. Try and run that through your head a few times. Try and grab that. Look at the papers that you received, those presentments, the bills that you get in the mail, your invoices, anything from a corporation, and especially if they've used your Social Security number in order to set up the account. So tomorrow should be interesting, though. We're going to get into the mark, the name, and the number. Now, again, this is a Protestant writing this. I'm going to kind of dig into it a little bit and give additions to our understanding now that we understand more about the mark, thanks to Mr. Nobody. All right, drink water, and we'll get started with Mass. If you pray a rosary with the intention of understanding this, the light bulb will come on. Deum vobiscum et quoque apote. Oremus. O most holy Trinity, the Creator and Redeemer of all the faithful, grant to the souls of thy servants and handmaids the remission of all their sins, that they may obtain by loving prayers the forgiveness which they have always desired. Who livest and reignest with thee, one divine family, forever and ever. Suscipe Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum hoc immaculatum hostium, quam ego indignus famulos tuus offenditibi Deum meum vivum et verum, pro inamitabibus peccatis et offensionibus et negligentis meis, et pro omnibus circumstantibus sere pro omnibus fidelibus, Catholicorum vivis atque defunctis ut mihi et idis proficiat salute. Deum qui humanae substantiae dignitatem mirabilitur condidis et mirabilis reformaster da nobis pedulis atque tuum mysterium, eis divinitatis esse consortis criminalitatis nostrae, fieri de notis es patriceps Deum Iesum Christum Filium criticum vivit et reinat in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Offerimus tibi Deum calicem saitaris tuum depocantis clementium, ut conspectu divinae majestatis tuae pro nostra et totius mundi salute, cum adoris suavitatis ascendat. Spiritu meditatis et in animo contrito suscipiam arate Deum Iesum Christum, et sequiet sacrificium nostrum et expetutu hodie ut placiat tibi Deum matram nostra et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Veni sanctificator, Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, et sanctificite plata pro secundo, et accapere hoc sacrificium tua sancto nomini praeparatum. Suscipe Sancta Trinitas Sancta Oblationum cum tibi aferimus amamorem passionis resurrectionis et ascensionis Deum Iesum Christum. Et in honoram Deum matronam nostra et Papa Peter Sanctorum et Istorum et omnium Sanctorum, ut idis proficiat ad honorem nobis autem et salutem, et idi pro nobis intercedere in interim caelis, quorum morum agimus in tedis pedendum Christum Deum nostrum. Orate ut meam vestrum sacrificium acceptabile fide Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Suscipiat Deum Iesum Christum sacrificium de manibus tuis, et laudem et gloriam nominis sui ad utilitatem quoque nostram, totiusque ecclesiae suae sanctae. Deum vobiscum et quoque pote. Sursum corda habemus ad Deum. Gratias agamus Deum nostrum, dignum et justum est. Dei egitur clementes me matere pater, Deum matram nostra, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per Deum Iesum Christum Filium tuum Deum nostra, supplices, rogamus ac petimus. Uti accepta habeas, et sanctificas haec sanctam sacrificium idibata, in primis quae tibi afferimus pro ecclesiam tuam sanctam catholicam, quam pacificare custodire honore et regere dimiris toto ubiterarum atque catholicae. Memento Deum famulorum catuorum. We pray for the sick and the suffering. We especially pray for Luis Antonio Cantu, Katie, Gage, RM, Robert Dosco, Jr. and Sr., Maria Josephina Mose, Neil and Earl Lively, Letitia, Mindy, Clarette, Mark Jr., Henry, Barbara, and Benedict Santa Croce, Robert Santa Croce, Mr. Nobody, the Cantu and Duarte families, Michaela McLarnon and family, Sarah and Becky, Jenna and Lena, Lori, Aaron and family, Maria and the Lineweber family, the Kendrick, Dosco, Nye, Tafor, Began, Wolf, and Kane families, and all their intentions. We pray for Mr. Nobody to receive the funding and strength needed to complete the first Sede Vacantis Catholic Council office in Monastery of Illinois. We pray for an end to all governmental allowance or sanctioning of abortion, transgenderism, transhumanism, child trafficking, child abuse of any kind, anywhere, place, or time. We pray for the establishment of a Catholic monarchy with a sound Catholic system of labor, human value, medium of exchange, with no usury, with courageous men to step forward as leaders of this Catholic society, and to stop all these abuses that are occurring around the world, especially in government, with regards to finance, with regards to forcing insanity upon all the institutions. We ask for a reversal of the feminist ideology and a return to godly femininity and we ask for the men to become masculine again in the correct form, without fear, with courage, to learn the virtues and act on them. We ask that all pornography and the OnlyFans platform be stopped immediately and forever. And we ask that all young mothers reconsider injecting anything into their children until they know exactly what's going into them, to prevent poisoning and death. We ask for the conversion of all sinners trapped in a state of mortal sin, especially the ignorant. We pray that people understand that sin is mainly the cause of the effects on the physical effects of the world, with regards to increases in earthquakes and volcano actions and disasters. All this we ask in accordance with the most holy and divine Trinity's will. Et omnium cercum stantium, quorum tibi fides cognit est, et noto devotio pro quibus tibi eferimus, vel qui tibi affrontox sacrificium laudis, pro se suis omnibus, pro redemptione animarum suarum, pro spe salutis et calamitatis suae, tibi credunt vota sua aeterno Deum vivo et vero. Communicantes et memoriam venerantes in primis gloriosae, semper Deum maternam nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et beatorum martyrium torum Papa Sancte Petri, et Sancte Lucia, et Sancte Jacinta, Sancte Francisco, et Sancte Juan Diego, et omnium sanctorum tuorum quorum meditis praecibus quae concedas ut in omnibus protectiones tuae monum et exilio per idem Christum Deum nostrum, quam oblatione de Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum in omnibus consecratum acceptabulum cafecere dignitis ut nobis corpum, et sanguinem fiat didictis mi filium tuum Deum Iesum Christum. Qui pridie quam pateretur recepit panem in sanctus aquanabilis manus suas, et derivatis oculis in calamata Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum suum omnipotentem tibi gratias agens, consecravit frege didique luminis sui dicens accipite et mondo cote ex hoc omnes. Hoc est enim corpus meum. Simni modo postquam ceremoniae est accipiens et hunc preclarum calicem in sanctus aquarabilis manus suas item tibi gratias agens Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Consecrave dedique luminis sui dicens accipite et bibite ex omnes. Hic est enim calix sanguinis mei, mysterium fidei, quae pro nobis et pro multis effundetur in remissionem peccatorum. Aequates cumque feceritis in meum una facitis. Unde et memoris Deum nostro virtuis, et a plebs tua sancta justum Christum filium tuum Deum nostrae, tam beate passiones nec non et in feris resurrectionis, sed et in caelos gloriosae ascensionis, Offerimus praeclare majestati tuae de tuis donis actatis, supra quae propitio ac sereno vultur respicieri digneris. Supplices teragamus, Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, ibe hic per fide manus tuum ut quod, ex hoc autaris participationis sacrosanctum Deum Filium tuum, corpus et sanguinem subsinimus, omni sanctificatione caeleste gratia Dei per amor per Deum Christum Deum nostrae. We pray for those who have died, and we especially pray for Mimi Margaret LaPlante, for whom this Mass is being offered. Ipsis Deum et omnibum in Christum quiscentibum locum refugeri illucis et pacis ut dolor geste pracamur per Deum Christum Deum nostrum. Per quem hic omnia Deum Iesum Christum semper bona creas, sanctificas, vivicas, consecratis et praestas nobis. Per ipsum et cum ipso et in ipso, est ibi Deum Mater omnipotenti in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, omnis honor et gloria. Ave Dea, matronam nostrae, gratia plena Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum tecum. Sanctam tuum in mulieribus Dea, matronam nostrae, matram Deum Iesum Christum. Ora pro nobis peccatoribus nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Libera nos quae sumus Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum ab omnibus malis, praeteritis praesentibus et futuris et intercedente beata gloriosa semper Deum matram nostrae. Cum Papa Petrum Sanctorum et omnibus sanctis da propiciis pacem in diebus nostris, ut ope misericordiae Tuae aduit et peccato, simus semper liberi et omni perturbationis securi. Per Deum nostrum Iesum Christum Filium Tuum Deum nostrum, qui tecum vivit et reinat in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per aeternam. Pax Deum Iesum Christum sit semper vobiscum et quoque apud te, haecum ex Deo et consecratio corporis et sanguinis Deum Iesum Christum, fiat ecipentibus nobis in ad salutem aeternam. Pax tecum et quoque apud te. Deum Iesum Christum, qui ex voluntate Deum matronam nostrae, qua parande Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per mortem tuam unum vivificasti, libera me per hoc sacrosanctum corpus et sanguinum tuum ab omnibus iniquitatibus meis, et universis malis, et fac me tui semper in hadare mandatis, et atinum quam separare permittas, qui cum eodem Deum matronam nostrae, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, vivi serenum aeternam. Perceptio corporis tui Deum Iesum Christum, quod ego indinius sumere praesimo non mihi proveniat in judicium condemnationem, sed pro tu pietate prosit mihi ad tutumentum mentis et corporis et ad medelam percipiendam, qui vivis et regnas cum Deum matronam nostrae in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Panem celestem accipiem et nomen Deum Iesum Christum in vocabo. Deum matronam nostrum non sundinius, ut et suscitem meas in tanto diquibus naperanum mea. Deum Iesum Christum non sundinius, ut et suscitem meas in tanto diquibus naperanum mea. Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum non sundinius, ut et suscitem meas in tanto diquibus naperanum mea. Corpus Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet anima mea. Quid urtibum Deum Iesum Christum pro omnibus, quae rotubud mihi, calicem saitaris equipim in nomen Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum invocabo. Laudans invocabo Deum Matronum nostrum et ab inimicis meis avocero. Sanguis Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet anima meam. Corpus Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet animam tuum. Codori sumpsimus Deum Iesum Christum puramente capiamus et immunere et temperae fit nobis remedium sempiternum. Corpus tuum Deum Iesum Christum consumtis et sanguis quem potari heriat visceribus meis apraesta, ut in me non remaniat scelum macula quem pura sancta reficerunt sacramenta. Corpus Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet animam tuum. Deum obiscum et quoque pote, oremus. May the prayer of thy suppliants profit the souls of thy servants and handmaids. We beseech thee, O most holy Trinity, that thou mayest free them from all sins and make them sharers in thy redemption, who livest and reignest with thee, one divine family, forever and ever. Deum obiscum et quoque pote, ite mis est. Deum gratia. Placia tibi sancta Trinitam obsequium suffitutis mea praesta ut sacrificium coroculis tuae majestatis in unus obtuli tibis et acceptable, mihique et omnibus proquibus illud obtuli, sit de miserante propitiare per Christum Deum nostrum. Sanctificamus omnipotens Deum, Matronam et Filium et Spiritum Sanctum, Deum Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Gracias. O most holy Trinity, I believe, I venerate, I hope, and I love thee. I beg of thee pardon for those who do not believe, do not venerate, do not hope, and do not love thee. Most holy Trinity, Deum Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, I venerate thee profoundly, and I offer to thee the most precious body, blood, soul, and divinity of Deum Iesum Christum, present here in reparation for the outrages, sacrileges, and indifference by which he himself is offended, and through the infinite merits of his most sacred heart and immaculate heart of Deum Matronam Nostrae, I beg of thee the conversion of poor sinners. In nomine Deum Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Gracias. Okay, one note before you go running off and accepting all your bills for value is that most of the businesses and corporations don't have a clue, and so they don't understand what to do with it, and they'll usually return it. And we'll get into tender of payment and refusal of offer to payment or tender of payment. Please go and sanctify all those you meet, though, and we'll continue this tomorrow. And thank you very much for being here, and appreciate it. Have a great day.